right, guys, welcome back again to Environmentalist Award. We have had some time looking at the butterfly, but this time we're going to talk about endangered birds that fly. You can all practice your bird flying in your own homes as I dandle my hands. But today I just want to share with you a few things about the Environmentalist Award. Our aim this afternoon is to help you to understand, our role, your role in protecting wildlife, and we'll be looking at 9 requirements that will help us to learn about 3 animals and 3 birds that may be harmed. The big word they call it is endangered. And then we're going to be looking at how pollution actually happens and some creative ways in which you and I can learn to prevent pollution. Now, before I go any further, I'd just like to also share with you this requirement number 1, which is about reciting a particular text from the Holy Bible. And today I got a little helper who's going to help me with this. And so we're going to just go straight in and do this reciting of the Bible. Now I have here a young friend of mine, actually my niece, and here goes.
Dion, we are struggling. We are
struggling with volume?
Yes.
Okay, let's go again.
Then God said, "Let us make humans in our image,
A little bit louder.
our likeness. Let them rule the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and the domestic animals all over the earth, and the animals that crawl on the earth."
Right, so from there we have got an explanation as to, we now need an explanation to what's being said. Now, I'm not sure if you all heard this, but I'll try my best again to let you have this voice again.
Dion, maybe not, let's not try to play it again, but if it's possible, maybe you can actually just read it from your Bible, or maybe we can ask somebody else to read it. Do you have your Bible?
Okay. If you have someone outside, I'd rather have a young voice reading it, so we'll ask a volunteer, just one volunteer. The first hand up will take Dan.
Jeremiah, here it is. Jeremiah, are you able to read with us?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." Genesis 1 verse 26.
Thank you so much. Well read.
Yeah,
well read. So let's seek to explain what this is trying to say to us. Any hands? Just take one hand, or just 2 hands today. You could write your comments and we can take those comments.
Annabelle?
Genesis 1 verse 26 means that God has created us in his image.
Yes.
Well done.
Well done.
And is there another hand out there, Diane? We just have one more.
Let me see. At the moment.
We've got 3 hands raised. We'll take the first.
Not at the moment that I see, Dion. So let me just see. No, nobody at the moment. So, oh, here it is. Here it is. Jeremiah again. Jeremiah, yes.
Genesis 1:26 means that God created us in his image and made us rulers of all the other creations.
Wonderful. Now, you may have your worksheets out there, so I'm going to ask you to make notes of that as we go along. I'm going to just put in my mind, just to help you summarize that God created all the animals, the birds, and the fish in the sea, and he made human beings to look after the world, to protect human life on earth, and also to protect animals, birds, fish, and plant life. He also uses his laws, or helps us to use laws to protect each other and animals and birds and fish, and to provide food for all creatures. He also has made human beings to care for the air, the land, and the sea environment, or the habitat, which is a home where animals, birds, fish, and plant live. He also made us to learn from nature, where nature can also be our teacher. So guess me this riddle and perhaps not. Riddle me this, riddle me that. What do you call a plant or an animal that may be harmed if you do not look after it? I'm going to help you because it's a big word. The first clue, it has end, anger, and red. The second clue, the word has end plus anger plus red. Putting it together, here's the other clue. Our final answer is going to be, okay, Jeremiah, Annabelle?
It's everybody's writing endangered.
Endangered. Well done, well done, well done, guys. Give yourself a tap on the shoulder. Well done. So guess me this riddle and perhaps not. Riddle me this, riddle me that. What do you call a plant or an animal that is no longer living?
All
Give
right.
you a few minutes. Now here's a clue. If you can unscramble these words, you might find something sandwiched in between. Okay, a few more seconds and put your answers down on the comments. What are we getting, Deanne? Are we getting some answers on the...
Yes, we are. Everybody's writing extinct.
Extinct. You guys are so excellent. That's fantastic. Well done. You've unscrambled the word. It was sandwiched right between A and C. The word we're looking for is extinct. Now, what's the difference, do you believe, between distinct and endangered? Well, endangered means it needs to be protected, whereas extinct means it does not exist. So, for example, the golden frog, which is to my right, is a toad that no longer exists on Earth. It's extinct. On my left, your right possibly, there's an endangered animal, the Amur leopard. This animal is threatened. His life, his home, his food is threatened. His future is threatened and needs to be protected. So when we're looking at the Environmentalist Award, we'll be looking at these terms and these definitions will come up. So remember, endangered means, could you write that down? And extinct means, could you write that down? Very good. Now let's move on. A question to you. What other animals can you think of that are extinct? Extinct meaning they do not exist on this earth. Would you just like to put some comments down? And we'll take one or two from the group.
Yep.
So if you just write that in the comments box.
We have dinosaurs, dodos.
Yes. Yeah.
Mammoth.
Yes.
Saber tiger.
Yes.
So these are the main.
Fantastic. You guys have got you've been copying my notes here. So yes, we do have the dinosaur, the saber-toothed cat or the tiger, the dodo, the golden toad, as I mentioned, the Tasmanian tiger, the mammoth, of course, which is a cousin to the elephant. Now, as we get closer to the requirements, I just want to say approximately about 150 to 200 types of insects, plants, and birds and animals. They become extinct like every 24 hours. Now, requirement 2 requires of us to list 3 animals that are endangered. Now, I'm going to show you 3 that I think are easy for me to just share with you today. So these are my 3 that I'm sharing with you today. And also, I'd like to just go through them with you, to share them with you. Now, in terms of the endangered animal 1, the grizzly bear. The grizzly bear is very rare, and as big as he is, he runs at 35 miles per hour. 75% of his food is from berries, leaves, and nuts. But he also has fish. He likes fish. And my grizzly bear, he likes to communicate by roaring. Now, when he roars, he communicates one with another. So my grizzly bear, when he roars, he sometimes is very, very loud. You know, he uses his outdoor voice. Wow, that's loud. So that's the sound of a grizzly bear when he's communicating. My next animal is going to be I'll just go back one. Sorry, the Amur tiger. The Amur tiger is a rare leopard. Oh, sorry, the Amur leopard is a very rare leopard. It's found mostly in northern Russia, and it lives in snowy areas in the cold regions. This particular tiger is sometimes sought because of its...
This is Tyler. Tyler
sorry.
Remley's
Sorry. This particular leopard is sought because of its coat. Many people use it or people hunt it, sadly, for its actual coat. And so as a result of that, this animal becomes endangered. It's being threatened. Its life is being threatened. I'll move on to my 3rd endangered animal, which is the Javan rhinoceros. This rhinoceros is quite solitary. They like to be alone sometimes, especially the male ones, but they love to wallow in the mud. I'm not sure if many of you like to wallow in the mud, but these guys love to wallow in the mud. And when they do have fun, and they do need a lot of space. In terms of what they sound like, at times it may be difficult to work out if this is really the sound of a Javan rhinoceros, but indeed it is. I'm just going to let you hear them. Right, that's the sound of the Javan rhinoceros, and they are also on the threat of extinction. Now, I'm going to introduce you to 3 birds, but before I do that, The reason why they're on the extinction is because, like us human beings, these animals require food, water, and shelter, and their shelter is called a habitat. And just like plant life, also plant needs water, sunlight, and air. We all need air to breathe, and so does the animals. But there are various things that we'll learn about later on that will sometimes affect their breathing. So why are animals endangered? They're endangered because their food, their water, and their air, as well as the places where they live, which we call our homes, are under threat. The homes in which animals live is called an habitat, a natural home or environment in where the animal or the plant or the living creature called organism actually lives. Some of them may be in grasslands, swampy grounds, within the forest, etc. But these are some of the areas that they live in, and they can be threatened because of a variety of reasons. Now, our requirement 3 requires us to list 3 birds that are endangered. Our first bird that I'd like to share with you is called the hyacinth macaw. Then we have the hen harrier, which is found in Northern Ireland mostly, and also the ivory-billed woodpecker. These birds are all endangered, meaning that they're threatened. Their life, their food, where they live is all threatened. I'll let you hear the sound of one of our birds. It's called the hyacinth macaw. This bird is the largest of the parrot species. And this bird hails from South Africa, South America. Now, this particular bird has 2 toes that point forward and 2 toes that point backward to help it to hold on whenever it's walking. What's very noticeable about it is that it has black rings around its eyes. My next bird is going to be the hen harrier. This particular bird is known for its owl-like face. It's a meat eater and it relies on very good eyesight and very good scent. The females are larger than the males, and the males then like to perform what we call a sky dance. I'm going to see if I could try and demonstrate that to you now. Just for a moment. All right, it would appear that I won't be able to do that, but I'll just let you know that this particular bird also likes to look after its own, and the male likes to get the food and take it to the female. So oftentimes they will be seen together exchanging food for their family. I'm just going to try and push it onto my screen for you to see what I'm saying. Right, it's not happening, but you can hear the sound of the bird at a distance. Right, so that was the hen harrier, and and it's under threat, then we have another requirement which we'll go to, but it's to do with the Endangered Birds 3, which is our woodpecker. Now, our woodpecker, it has a cousin called the pileated woodpecker. This particular woodpecker is very rare, very few of them left, but it's very large. And the difference between this woodpecker and its cousin, which is the pileated woodpecker, is that it has white on the back of its on the feathers when it's all open. So when it's all open like this, it's all white, but when it's down, you can just see a strip of white. His cousin has it all black, and that's the difference between both of them, but they look so similar, you'd never believe it. The sound of the woodpecker is like this when it's doing its business. It's found in hardwood forest, and they're very, very vulnerable. So I'm going to let you hear them drumming. In a few minutes, you'll hear the woodpecker drumming. So there you go. Mother Nature has drummers, and one of these drummers was an ivory-billed woodpecker. Our next requirement is to explain how we can protect these birds. There are different ways in which we can protect the birds, and one of the suggestions I'm going to share with you a few actually. We can protect them by raising awareness, a bit like now through this class, providing clean drinking water for them to drink, and providing flowering trees, making sure we're not cutting down our trees, and leaving some leaves or leave litter within the garden so that they can actually potter around the garden if they're within your local reach, especially those who are living in Northern Ireland, and protecting our birds from pets. Also campaigning for lighted buildings to prevent birds from bouncing into them or colliding into them and then dying, because they do fly at a very fast speed at night sometimes, and they wouldn't necessarily know that there's a tall building in London, and they may crash into that building and sadly they die. So having buildings with lights on at night help birds to live. Also having a bird feeder, and donating money is another way that you could do if you haven't considered that. So that's also another way in which you could help. Now, in terms of the requirements, we got requirement number 4. It talks about having endangered trees, and we need to study them. Well, the study I did was pretty basic. It related to the UK, so I looked at three trees within the UK, the mountain ash, and I learned when I was doing my research that people use some of the berries to make medicine, and these berries are used fresh, dried, or cooked and then dried. And people do take the mountain ash for treating kidney diseases and diabetes and arthritic pains, and also to lower if they've got low levels of vitamin C. Some of them do use it as a vitamin C deficiency booster. The other one is a horse chestnut. The horse chestnut, I understand that some people do eat the horse chestnut as an anti-inflammatory, whereas if you've got pain, it can help release pain. And also where you've got swelling veins, large veins, or swelling ankles, it can be used to help with cramps in the legs as well. Also in terms of helping in the era of making toys for children, the wood is used to make toys pieces, puzzles, and little storage for fruit bowls, and so that little kitchen utensils that are used within the kitchen. The white beam is also another tree which I didn't manage to go much on that, but I've seen it near to those white cliffs of Dover, for those who've been down Kent, that side. and it is an area which has quite a lot of chalk. Now, one of the things we can do in protecting our trees is to adopt a tree. Or when you're out, again, doing your walk, you can actually hug a tree.
Just as you're going, for all the kids that are watching, it is always important when it comes to any berries or anything like that, nuts, wild food, not to be eaten without supervision, because many adventurers would not know what could be poisonous or what could not be poisonous. So it's always good to go on a safer side. Always ask somebody who knows before you pick and eat, because some of them are not good for us. Is that right, Diane?
Yes. Thank you for that point. Yeah, on the safeguarding aspect, not everything that's in nature is good for us to eat, because you may have an allergy, and I'm going to be touching on some of those things later on in our presentation. So always ask an adult before, and always make sure that when you are out in nature, you are with an adult and not just on yourself, because there are various things that can actually endanger you if you do not understand how to treat nature. Nature can, as it were, be a teacher, but we need for you to protect nature as well as to protect yourselves. So one of the questions I'm going to ask you is, what do you think causes pollution? Now, I took a picture of this and I thought, well, this is a skyline of East London, and I can see some smog, S-M-O-G, smog. And I wanted to ask you the question, what do you think? It's your turn to comment in the box. What do you think causes pollution? If you got your answer sheets, if you want to write what you think causes pollution, and then I'll share with you in a few minutes. I've got a hand raised by Annabelle. Would you like to go ahead?
It is very hard to unmute, Dion, so we need to use a chat if that's all right.
Right, if you just put a scribble in the chat, if you just click on chat and then you write your answers, and then we'll take them. Okay, so what causes pollution? I'm going to give you a whole lot of ideas. If you look at this picture, you possibly come up with a few yourself. Where you live locally?
So the answers started coming in. So many people are saying cars. Also, some people are saying that some natural things cause pollution, like volcanoes, smoking, factories. So mainly connected with human.
Yes, indeed. When God created us, we were put in charge. But unfortunately, pollution happens when dirt or unclean substances are introduced into the environment, and it becomes harmful to us. A bit like us eating things which are not good for us, and then we have allergies, or we may have rashes, or we itch, or we get sick because of eating things that we have are not good for us, or we may not, or makeup may not be such that we can have these foods. So I just want to list with you some of the ways in which you can prevent pollution. Even though you can't see pollution, the air you breathe can affect your health. Polluted air can cause difficulty in breathing, and some children, they do have flare-ups and allergies, as I talked about, in terms of asthma, and others lung problems, skin problems. Some people may have long-term exposures to air pollution, can cause risk of diseases such as even heart disease and cancer. So let's look at some ways then that you think you can prevent pollution. What are some ways that you think you can prevent pollution? Any ideas?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Let's just ask everybody, in which way, guys, do you think we can prevent pollution? I'm sure among our amazing adventurers we'll get some very good answers. So somebody as well. Okay.
Right, are we getting some answers then?
Yeah, people are saying throw away less plastic, drive less, walk.
Yes.
Stop littering. There is 2 or 3 comments which are talking about walking.
Yes.
Cycling. And now, so the answers are, well, people are mentioning recycling.
Okay, Some of you guys have been copying my script. Well done to you guys. I want to just say high five. Well done and high five. Well done. Also, in terms of our organic food, I want to suggest if you can eat organic means that you grow it yourself. You become a gardener, become an avid gardener. Take up a hobby, you know, especially in lockdown. You could possibly start to plant some of the foods that we do shop in the supermarket, plant some of those seeds, and you'd be amazed. And you'll be having organic food. Also, in terms of, as someone rightly said, reuse bags and containers, and choose to use paper over plastic, because a lot of plastic, when it gets into the landmines, it doesn't really help our environment. It suffocates. And so the idea of recycling, reducing, and reusing is very much about how you can stop pollution. And also in the sort of cleaning materials you use in the homes, the chemicals, you know, we could have a relook at some of these things and try to use non-toxic cleaning materials and use more natural ways of cleaning. And in terms of our energy sources at home, most homes, I think, would start to or have been using energy bulbs. There's another way in which we can reduce the demand in fossil fuels to power up the energy source, so we can have light, so we can and electricity, so we can use this online system. And also, if we avoid burning, unnecessary burning, because that allows different fumes or gases to go in the air, and some nitro oxides that when they go into the air, it's a big word, nitro oxide, but these are some of the things that create changes in the atmosphere, in the air that we breathe. And, you know, these are just some of the ways I just like to leave with you. So the question, therefore, is, you know, to be part of the solution, we need not to be part of the pollution. So we can also cut down on eating meat, because one of the things I've learned is the meat industry produces more toxic gases in transporting the animal from its livestock to where it's being slaughtered, to where it's then being distributed to all these different places that make these hamburgers, sausages, supermarkets then sells them. It just leaves a huge, what we call a carbon footprint. And so, you know, things like, you know, just shopping locally, you know, one of my family members saying, you know, we went to get some local strawberries, and that's grown locally. So, you know, if you can walk to the stores, get your local strawberries, and that's even good. It cuts down on processing, and you can make a real impact in stopping pollution. So as we talk about pollution now, let's seek how we can understand, why does this happen? The how and the why.
Somebody actually just posted on our Facebook page. He says it's 3 R's. He says recycle, reuse, reduce.
Exactly. The 3 R's reminds me of the Godhead, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They all work together to help to save us from this messed up world. And so we are being empowered by them to look after this world. And now I'd like you guys to join me in investigating how and why does pollution happen. I'm going to try and help you because of time. You know, when we look at this land mass that God gave us to look after, the air and the water and the seas and the fish that lives in the sea, there's so much that God has put us, and He wants us to look after these things. And sometimes when I look closely, the farmland, sometimes the waste, it goes and seeps into lakes. And as a result, the lakes then have various sediments and various things that are not very pleasant for the organisms that live in these lakes, and it affects what we call the food chain, the eco-food chain. And it's where people, animals and plants get their life. When we look at drilling, oil rigs, when they drill down into the earth and they pull out these fossil fuels. Sometimes these mines send out what we call toxic waste, and these run off in, you know, when the rain falls, it runs off into lakes and sediments are formed, and then we may have erosion. And as a result of that, some of these sediments, they seep into the lake. And then also when we think about it, we may have these manufacturing companies, and they give off these carbon emissions, and these goes into what we call the ozone layer, and it depletes the ozone layer because of the various chemicals that's given off, and these chemicals are sometimes called the nitro oxides, and hence the NOx, because there's so many that sometimes we can't even name them. And then we also have what we call, when it gets into the atmosphere and it gets into the clouds and then it rains, it then mixes up with all these different impurities in the air, and it gives off what we call acid rain. And this acid rain then affects the plant life, and it actually, you know, kills off some of our trees and creates diseases among some of the plants, some of the animal life. And so as a result of that, it then affects the whole ecosystem of life. That's why we need environmentalists like you young guys to help us to protect the environment. Now, as a result of that, our oceans sometimes get affected, and all the toxic runoff comes in there, and it just makes the whole place really messed up, you know. But in all the mess, I hope that we can be part of the solution and not part of the pollution. So the requirement 5C says there's 7 requirements. We're almost finished. It says explain how you can keep from polluting the water, for example. I want to suggest, guys, that you just keep calm and you prevent water pollution. How are you going to do that? I'm going to suggest you do it this way. Conserve on running water. And whenever you do turn your tap on, always remember to turn it off. Don't throw paints, oils, and oil forms of litter down your toilet. Not good. Keep calm and prevent water pollution by taking great care not to overuse pesticides. These are things like bugs. This time of the year, you may see the ants go marching one by one. Hurrah! Let's not, you know, use a lot of pesticides, things that you buy in the cans, aerosols, because that, when it gets into the atmosphere, you're breathing it in, it's affecting you, it's also going to affect them. And ants actually do a very wonderful work. But at the same time, just keep calm and prevent water pollution. So I just want to suggest that you can also look at not polluting our waters with litter. Litter, someone's mentioned about like plastic. You know, we humans are greatest pollutants. We pollute by throwing litter here and there when we drive in our cars, we throw things out the car. That's actually illegal now. And plastics and human and chemical waste are some of the great dangers in the water when we consider. So we could seek to not do that by not littering. Another one about the dangers that threaten the quality of air. Wow. Well, I'm going to let you guys think about it and give me some comments in your screen. You just make some notes for me very quickly. What dangers do you think that threatens the quality of air that we breathe in? I've tipped you on some of them. I've shown you a clip on some of them. What dangers do you think threaten the quality of air?
And we'll get answers from Dan from the chat rooms and also comments. There are some people who are talking about, when you mentioned water, they're saying that, hey, it would be very good for everybody to get a water bottle that they can reuse. So I think that's one way to reduce plastic. But when it comes to question, what dangers? Well, people are saying carbon dioxide, also smoke, exhausts, and things like this.
That's correct. And if I just share with you my picture here, yes, pollution happens when you've got the factories, they're burning the fuels, and the smoke goes up in the air. And when it goes up in the air, it then gets mixed up with all sorts of dirt and grime, because we have, for example, the construction road workers who are doing their job. And as a result of that, we've got the tankers who are moving stuff on the piers, and the oil rigs that are digging, and it's creating dirt and dust and smog, and it's all going up in the atmosphere. And tankers with petroleum, you know, they're driving from one place to the next so that we can all get petrols for our cars. And as a result of these chemicals create the carbon dioxide, and then it mixes up and get the nitrogen, the nitro oxides in the atmosphere. And when the rain does fall, these dangers, as I said, they tend to threaten life. The household chemicals that we use, You know, we may not, you know, ventilate as in allow enough air to circulate within our homes. We keep our doors all closed up, or we don't open windows, we inhale it, or we throw these chemicals in our toilets or in our drainage system, and then the drainage system, and it goes to a water system, and then that then creates dangers for us. And then we also have things like the factories may be careless in excreting the gases in the air. And so as a result, we have what we call global warming, climate warming, acid rain, and all these interesting things that happen when you have lightning. Sometimes, you know, these electrical currents with all these different dirt in the air, these pollutants, it then makes it difficult for us to breathe. And as I said, some of us may have flares of allergies or seasonal allergies at certain times of the year, and it affects our breathing, and some people will have long issues, long problems.
Jon, as we are just about, when it comes to halfway to our presentation, so but maybe if we are able to move just because of time, nothing else.
Okay, so in terms of that, I just summarized by saying, as we coming to a close, that sometimes our household waste and chemicals are very much part of what creates this air pollution. But you can see air pollution is driven by many things that I've said to you. Some of you have already alluded to transportation, and that all this sometimes poisons the soil. Acid rain creates smog over large cities. We have smog, not fog, but smog, because it's poisoned air caught within the air zone, and poisoned waterways, and fires, sometimes bushfires as a result of all of this. So our world may not be as healthy as it looks. And so like COVID-19, you're being advised to wear a face mask. You know, our poor world needs a face mask. It needs someone like you to help it protect itself. And so you can help me, and one of the requirements, and this is the optional one I'm suggesting over lockdown, is for you to help collect paper and cans and water materials, or materials rather, for recycling to help clean the environment. Now, you guys are the environmentalists, and I know that Diane loves to see your craft, and I'm going to tease you into making a craft, because as an environmentalist, a young environmentalist, you are concerned, I'm sure, about protecting your environment as well as I am about protecting the environment. So you can take care of the present and the future animals and the plant life. And so I would like you to collect your paper and your cans and make a craft to do your part. So when you collect these materials, you can make a craft with it and take a picture of it and post it so that Pastor Deanne can see this and share it on Wednesday with everyone around the world. So take care of the animals and take care of the plant foods. That's your job. That's my recommended job to you guys, because you are the top of the game now. You know that you all know what it is that makes our world goes round. It takes you, it takes me to protect this world. So I'm going to allow you to take time out to collect your craft materials, do your part with your craft, and I'm going to share with you what I have done. I took a bottle that I was going to throw away, and I decided I'm going to put in it my little craft, and I'll share with you my little craft. I wanted to make and share something about the earth made new. So I know that whenever I, want to take this, imagine I'm on a boat, I'll just put my little, not that I have anything to do, but I'll share my little bottle with a friend of mine, and he's going to put it in his bath, and he's going to have it float and think about his earth made new. So this is one idea I can give to you, where you have a mural. These are little pictures where you can have your various murals being shown. But also when you have your yogurts, you can recycle your cans, and you can make them, have your carrots, and you can make it for your celery, and you can also have it and serve it up for your lunch. Or you can, when you've got your baked beans tins, you might decide, let's go to the garden, get some paint and paint it. You might decide to plant a plant from the garden and take it inside and keep it nice, and to remind you that your job is to look after the planet. So you might get even more bigger than that and decide, right, I might just wish to, do a mural and share it possibly by doing a freelance drawing. No problem. That you can do as well. So these are just some ideas I'll leave with you as we finish up now. And in summary, I'd just like to say to you, our world may not be as healthy as it looks. So you need to handle it with care, all right? And just before I go, I just want to leave with you this very thought. All right, you will hear it. Not as, I hope you can hear it, but this is a friend of mine.
Then God said, let us make mankind in your image, in your likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and all over the creatures that move along the ground. Let's see what we can do, save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do, save the planet for me and you. E-A-R-T-H, planet Earth is a happy place. E-A-R-T-H, planet Earth is a happy place. Na 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 na. Let's see what we can do, save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do, save the planet for me and you.
Okay, so remember to fill out your worksheets and let your parents send them on to your counselor, so Pastor Diane can have a copy of that. And remember to your craft. But last but not least, thank you guys. You've been amazing. And as I said, our world may not be as healthy as it looks, but handle it with care. Have a good day.
Dion, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And so we came to the end, and we just want to say thank you so much to Dion by clapping. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop sharing of this screen and go to the different views so that we can. Excellent. So I'm mute everybody. Let's give a clap. I'm mute. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.